Are you dreaming big enough? I want you to dream big and act bigger. You see, I want to have power. I want to be empowered. Suddenly, being empowered is a more positive word, because I want to make sure that I know my own values, my boundaries. I know what I want to achieve in life. Visible and invisible barriers are only a problem if you accept them as such. So a woman with a big dream also needs to have a plan, because without a plan, that dream is just a wish.
I love her confidence, I love her charisma, and her positivity and her brightness and her color and her lessons about life. You know, as a woman who's been through so much, it was really, really inspiring and really interesting.
I had 4 kids in 2 years. I wanted to be a businesswoman. I had no money. I had to think, how is this dream going to happen? If you actually start believing if something's important to you, just back yourself. Back yourself despite what other people say. Successful people are not held back by what other people say.
I would recommend that for everybody, because everybody should have a dream and everybody should back themselves. So I think she's awesome.
Even when it feels like everything's not going to work, they go, you know what? I'm going to make sure that this does work. I'm going to be positive despite, because it brings energy, it brings opportunity. And as soon as you actually get half glass empty, your vision will start failing. I encourage you to start making your dreams a reality in business and in life. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to our Mindset Magic Summit, brought to you by Women's Biz Global. For all of you tuning in around the globe, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn Live, might even be on Women's Biz Global website. There's just so much on offer, so many amazing speakers, and we have another one for you right now. Her name is Patty Grover, and she is known as the Goal Achievement Strategist. So welcome to the program, Patty.
Oh, Annie, what a blessing to be here with you. Phenomenal bunch of women here sharing messages of inspiration and that mindset shift and change that many people need to be hearing. I love it.
I sure do. And I'm really looking forward to our conversation today, because you are a powerful woman. You are a dynamo. And we've spoken on many summits before on each other's podcasts. You've been on my platforms, and we always just align, but we also live very different lives and on opposite sides of the world. And I just love how we can be just so aligned in so many ways, and also just, approach things, in our own way, and really bringing out our own authenticity. So I'm super looking forward to our conversation. For those of you, though, who don't know Patricia Jo Grover is the CEO of patriciajogrover.com, which is a complete platform that she created, which helps her run the Rise Above show. She's got a Rise Above Summit. She's got a podcast. She's got an Empowerment Network and a mastermind group. She's had Ultimate Achievement Books. She's all over the place, right? She's just does so many amazing things. She's also got a Rise Above Profit nonprofit that she gives back. She's got bliss retreats. Oh my goodness, she's all things love bomb, and she just helps people achieve their goals, right? Because we've all got goals, we all want to achieve things, but we get stuck and we just get frustrated, and it's kind of like, what is wrong with me? Why isn't this working? And so she is a specialist in helping people just pretty much go from stuck to unstoppable, I'm assuming. Is that right, Patty?
Pretty much getting people from where they're currently finding themselves. And I say currently to where they want to be, because I have a situation, Annie, and I know we were going to talk about that a little bit, because I'm finding myself at a point in life now that I never thought I would be in. And it totally derailed my personal and professional life. So I am doing now, I'm walking my talk that I teach everybody to do on a daily basis.
It's a fascinating experience when you have been a coach for a long time and you're used to just telling people how things are, and you've always been pretty grounded and pretty comfortable in where you are and the way your life works. And I'll just get you to actually share in your own words what's actually happened to your world in the last year or so, and how that's actually then now affected you into who you even see yourself today, what it's done to your mindset. You're going to have so much to share with us.
Oh, yes, Annie. Well, let me go back to, it was the end of 2017 when my husband and I had actually sold a business that we had and operated for 7 years, and doubled the business. And so anyway, we sold that business and we were getting ready to start another chapter of our lives. And that's when I was going to start. I went to the process of starting to write my book and launching my platform. And then my husband, within that same week that I went to the book writing seminar, my husband was diagnosed with mantle cell lymphoma. Mantle cell lymphoma is non-curable and reoccurring. And he was at that time given 2 to 5 years to live. We determined at that point that we weren't going to let that stand over our heads. We were going to choose to live our lives to its fullest potential and enjoy it for the most that we could get out of it for what the time we had left. And so that, I kept doing my business, but I was playing at a certain level. For me, I wanted to not be too far away from home, to be able to be supportive of him if, whatever we needed to do. And, because we had him in seeing a doctor, we found the best doctor in the whole country. We went to Houston, Texas to MD Anderson, and he was in a clinical trial. And this doctor was the best in the country, if not in the world, with mantle cell. So having that to deal with, made me just kind of do what I was doing, love what I was doing. It's inside me. I can't stop doing this. I can't stop helping people break past barriers that they put on themselves or have allowed other people to put on them. But I was living in that, it was more of a hobby that I really, really enjoyed doing. Yes, I made money as a business, but I wasn't playing at the level that, I really need to be touching the lives that are still out there that need to be changed, and people need to be unburdened. So anyway, February of 2022, this past February, it was the end of February, and he wasn't feeling well. And he did a home COVID test. Now, we had already had the COVID shots and the boosters, but, because of the cancer medications he had been on, it negated the COVID. So he didn't feel well. He took the COVID test. The COVID test didn't do well. It didn't say. It said he came back negative. The next day he took it. It came back positive. And then he went to a teledoc. They sent him for a monoclonal antibody. He had that. And he just didn't, it didn't really affect him the way that they thought it would. He just started feeling worse and worse. And then that Thursday night, I said, really, I should take you to the emergency room. And he said, no, let's wait until tomorrow morning and see how I feel. He only made it until 4 o'clock, Friday, March 4th of 2022. Then he said, you got to take me to the emergency room. And I won't go into all of this, but so much more. But he was his legs were weak. He was able to walk to the car, but I had to drive him to the emergency room. And when we got there, I pulled up, and they, went in to get the wheelchair, and then came back out, and was trying to get him in the wheelchair. And then finally an attendant came out and said, I'll get him in and roll him in. You go park the car. And when I went back in, they were all ready to wheel him through security, because this was COVID, when COVID was going on. So he had a mask on, I had a mask on, and he had his beanie down over his eyes because his eyes were so sensitive to light. He had a tremendous headache. And I had to give my husband the very last kiss I was able to give him through a mask. And that when he was able to be conscious, and I knew he knew I was there for him. He, from that time, from being in the hospital, within 4 days, so yeah, that was Friday. Saturday, I talked to him on the phone, and he said, I'm done. I've had enough. Come get me. So, and of course I couldn't. And then Sunday, the same thing. And Monday, his right arm went paralyzed, his left arm paralyzed, and then he couldn't swallow his spit. He had to be intubated. So then he couldn't move. He was paralyzed, and he couldn't talk. And then after that, the next day, he lost his eyesight. And the following day, they thought he had a seizure, and he went into a coma. And so just to really shorten this up, he was in the hospital, our local hospital, for a week and a half, and they couldn't figure out what it was wrong with him. They had done all kinds of tests and everything. And so they were in contact with Mass General in Boston, where, Harvard trained doctors were there. And so they transported him, life flight to Boston, into that hospital. All this time in where I'm from, in Maine, I wasn't allowed to be in the hospital with him at all. Once he got to Boston, I was able to be in his room with him from 11 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock every night. So talk about a total shift, because then your partner, not just your partner, your partner in life, but we also have another business. So all of this then comes on to me, and talk about derailed. I often explain it as like, I was already driving along, and we had our lives figured out how we were going to live the rest of it. But then this came along and sideswiped, and then it threw him from the car and left me rolling in the ditch. And then the car landed on its roof, spinning with me in my life, seatbelt, battered and bruised, and the car still spinning. And so, but now the spinning stopped, and I am back in.
Yeah. You're back and you're new, and we're going to tap into that.
Yes.
But also, I just want to, before we do that, you've lost your beautiful husband. You knew it was going to happen, but you didn't know it was going to happen that way.
Right.
And so there's elements of shock. There's elements of COVID happening, and doing your last kiss through a mask, and not being able to go into hospitals to access. And it's extremely traumatic. I think losing a life partner is traumatic for anyone, but the whole scene, it was just so difficult for you. Now, you're a woman who coaches people and makes things happen always beautifully for everybody else. So you're feeling, metaphorically, like you're upside down in this spinning crash. Your world's come crashing down.
Exactly.
And not only are you having grief, the realities of this, for those just kind of going, oh my gosh,
Yes.
Is that life goes on. You've got children, grandchildren, businesses to run, and then you suddenly, that stage there, while you're sort of out of control, before you've got to where you are now, and you've really just got, into a whole new space, because things take time. It doesn't, it doesn't just suddenly go, oh, okay, it was a certain amount of months and then now I suddenly got myself together. It's been a journey. It's been an incredible journey. And it is hard sometimes when you're the one who always has all the answers, right? How was that for you? And how did you have to shift? How did you have to look after yourself and to really shift that mindset in ways that you hadn't done before?
Well, and it's really something, because of course the holidays were difficult. We're past that now, but I with everything that I do in my whole platform, I've created because I had to go through something and I needed those pieces at one point in time in my personal or professional life, and that's why it's in my platform now. But this, everything I say is that life happens to every single one of us, whether we're ready for it or not. So everybody knows about the SMART plans, but I always add the ER because it needs to be editable and revisable, because that, it's going to happen. So I've had to go back and reapproach everything, start over again, just like I was working with a client. I'm walking my own talk daily. All the things that I tell anybody that has been, if they've been through trauma of any kind, look at the people that I deal with. I deal with people that have been through bad domestic situations. I work with people that have lost their businesses, or, and having to start everything because of COVID, and do major shifts, and have survived some pretty major struggles in their own right in lives. So for me to be able to do those same things for myself, and when I worked with clients, I've always used what I call sensory vision, so that it helps people to be able to, when they're dreaming, to have that curiosity, so that add the, okay, what is it going to smell like, taste like, sound like, so that it becomes more real for them. Well, Annie, I think I was telling you before, have you ever, and I want the audience to ask themselves this, have you ever heard somebody say, I'd like to be able to dance like no one's watching? And because I told you, Annie, it's like, and I've told you before, I want to be like you when I grow up. But the thing is, I know and I own that I am who I am, and I'm not in competition with anyone else. So what I've done now is, I call it, I am a choreographer of my own life. And choreography as in, I want to be able to dance like no one's watching. So I've created myself, and through losing my husband, I've been able to take what I already taught and twist it to make that connection even deeper with create your own mixtape. And I do it when I'm riding my exercise bike. I do it when I'm cleaning the house. I have that music that touches my heart and my soul, and I allow it, to nourish my mind. That's what I'm doing. I'm nourishing my mind, my heart, and my soul with everything that I do in all aspects of my life. But with this music and allowing it to do that, because we connect so much to music, and a lot of people don't realize. So I'm sitting, and here I'll do this for you, because it's just me sitting on the exercise bike, and I'm doing this, and I'm jamming out whatever it is. If it's the rock, or if it's just something so relaxing and I'm just flowing, I'm doing it. And you know what? If I were at a gym, if I were like at Planet Fitness or Gold's or whatever, I'd be on that exercise bike doing the same thing, or on the treadmill doing the same thing, and people will be looking at me like, oh my God, look at her, she's crazy. But you know what? I know that they would just be jealous because they weren't able to allow themselves that freedom.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
That's where I'm at, and that's helped me come back, Annie, because again, I've always said, I choose to live my life purposely, joyfully, and gratefully. And how those are, if you drew 3 little circles, it's where those meet in the middle. That's the sweet spot. Yeah. That's where I have been in life for quite some time now. And I want to help as many people as possible get to that and have that sense of peace inside. To me, that's bliss. And
that's why you have your bliss retreats.
Right. That's why I have Right.
I'm
That's
all about the sweet spot. Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Everything is, you can see how everything comes together. But now this, again, really this has all brought on to me losing my husband is, life is too short. Dance like no one's watching. Be your own self. Have your own belief system. Have your own boundaries. Have this, own it, and and live the life that you are meant to live.
Exactly. Because, what are you waiting for? You just
If
that's
you're not going to do it now, if not now, when?
when are you going to do it? And you dance like no one's watching it. I love it. I can just picture you, Patty, get your little soundtrack on, just get into your space. Everyone's got their own jam, but just really love that. I tell you what, I've got quirkier and quirkier as I got older, and I'm actually loving it. And I think it's just that, dance as if no one's watching. But now I kind of go, I don't even care if they're watching. You look, I don't care.
Exactly.
It's not a problem. Now I know, Patty, though, when suddenly you've well, it's not suddenly. This journey has helped you get back to this space, and then now you actually have come out. You come out of this kind of trauma experience, life season, if you like, a whole new person. There's elements of you. Obviously, you're the same beautiful Patty Grover that I know, but also you suddenly come out and go, you know what? That's right. Life's precious. I need to start dancing like no one's watching me.
Yep.
I want to. I actually feel like now I value time more. I value my gifts and talents more. I'd love you to tell us, well, what does that mean now? What sort of thing has just happened to you now? Because I know you're just suddenly just driven going, I'm just going to really make the most of the rest of my life. Well, what does that mean?
I consider myself, Annie, more of a activational speaker than a motivational speaker. There's the people that get people rah, 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 but I am all, it's if you're going to have a dream, you want to build the biggest, most bodacious dream and goal. But you know what you have to do? If you're going to do that, you're going to have to put on the big girl panties and get to work. And
just going to have you be laughing there. I love that. I love it.
So, and what I'm telling everyone now, I have done what I've done with being the goal achievement strategist in my proprietary conquering skills education that I use with people globally, right? So starting this year, presentations I'm doing here like with Annie, I'm sharing the stage with her, but even on stage all over the globe, no matter where I am, how people have their superhero costumes. Well, mine's the big girl panties, because if anybody's going to do presentations, guess what? You have to be able to get up on stage and do that. And usually they said, what do? Look at everybody else, pretend they're in their underwear. But, it is, I have I know who I am. I don't question who I am and that I'm here to serve. There's no ands, ifs, or buts that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I want, if they're not if they're not physically putting on the big girl panties, I want to metaphorically be able to say, Annie, if I knew, honey, if you're struggling, here, put these on. I don't need them today. And that's what I want to get the message across, that underlying strength that some people just need a little bit extra of. They need that boost of whether it's confidence, whether it's self-esteem, whether it's knowing that somebody's in their corner and has their back. That's where I come into play with all the other things that I have available on my platform, my peer-to-peer mentoring and accountability membership program, my Empowerment Network and Mastermind, all these pieces are all things that I needed along my own journey. And guess what? I still love them today because it helps keep my cup full, because I have to have my cup full to be able to pour out for other people.
100%. Oh my goodness. I'd love to tap into something that you said before, that, you did it happily, knowingly, consciously. You held back obviously that we all do in relationships, to make sure that you were there for your husband, that you were there to support him, to sort of, appreciate time was limited, knowing
Right. The time that we had left, I didn't want to take
someone
from
gets
you.
told 2 to 5 years, you go, oh my gosh, like I actually have to just swing into more present here. So you did, and I know that we've been running our similar but different platforms across the globe. So you've gone about life and you've done that, and you've been, successful in that, but you knew that you were limited. So you've actually consciously knows, I'm not going to take this to ridiculous heights because I have to be present. I have the unknown. I don't want you to lose this time. You've now been through this journey and had some time to just reestablish, reinvent, get to know this new version of you. Now it's a real mindset shift that's activated in you, that's gone and said, you know what, now I'm dancing in the rain naked. I don't care. I'm just this new unlimited woman, right?
Yes.
And so what I'd love you to just to share, well, what does that mean you can suddenly do once you lift the lid? Because I know those delegates watching this, they're like going, oh my gosh, what would you do if you suddenly went, I could do anything? Like how does it change? You still got your platform, you still got your clients, you're seeing things in a different way. You've certainly got a lot more application, but things will change as well.
Exactly. So to free myself of the what ifs, and you and I talked about this a little bit earlier, Annie, if we approach something, well, what if, this is scary, or what if this goes poorly, your whole body feels that, it just resonates a different way. So, and allowing myself though, to now be, what if, what if this happens? And that excitement and everything that it does, it changes your total body, the vibration that you put off to the world. And many of it's all about manifestation. If the secret, there's no secret. Just know that when you are doing your very best, and you're putting in the effort, and you're growing, and you're nourishing your mind, your body, and your soul, you are going to be able to move forward in a positive direction. You got to have plans, as I teach people how to have smarter plans on how to do that. And again, I do everything that I teach others how to do. I do it myself. So this is allowing me, having the not having to worry about not having to be here in case I were to lose him. Now, again, it's a whole mindset shift. Not that losing him hasn't been devastating, but now I've come to the point where, guess what? What's next? What do I do now? I still love everything I do. Now I am working on, I have a theme for every month. So my thing is to break it down into small pieces, so it's not even overwhelming for me. And I'm an organized person. So with what I do, I teach people how to do the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s for organization and prioritization. I'm having to do that myself as well. So breaking it down each month to give myself a next chunk to work on. So for me, I had to get through the holidays. So I didn't do my year-end planning for 2023 when I normally would have, because I was dealing with all that. So my January is looking at, okay, here I am. This is where I'm at. Where do I want to be? And put together the plan, how to get there, and making my business, it's not like it's different. It's just I'm shifting some things, because I will be able to work on a bigger basis and allow myself to get out there and touch more people's lives. And to do that, I still need to have that, but make it be able to fit into the life that I have, that I don't want to give up for anybody. I don't want to be traveling and living out of a suitcase, just to be able to feel like I'm making a difference, because I know I can make a difference. I make a difference on my show with the summits, because I serve. And Annie, I enjoy being able to serve on so many different levels, just like you are with this summit and putting on this summit, because you're getting this message out to those people all over the world. And it's so rewarding to do that. So I that's what my mindset is. You know what? I love what I do. I'm never going to stop. I'm just going to find another way to shift and make it work for the new me.
Mm. Mm. Beautifully explained, because I know there's so many people who would just kind of want to know, well, how do you approach it? How does a person who's suddenly going through this stage, what sort of tips and tricks and tools have you applied? And I think that is just so interesting.
Going back to the basics, Annie. Go
Yeah.
back to the basics.
Rip it back. Strip it all back, and then you virtually added in and went, all right, this is the business I had. Now, what do I want to keep? How do I want to change it? What do I want to nurture? And I love that. There's a lot of conscious intent in what you were sharing there. You were saying, well, like I'm at a different stage. I've sort of raised my 5 kids, and my husband, the business I have with my husband, he travels a lot. So now I've actually gone intentionally done the other. I am, if anyone watches my social, I'm like living around the globe at the moment, but I also love it because I didn't do that much traveling. And I also had that couple time. So for me, I can work on my laptop anywhere. So for it has other advantages, but it's a conscious decision. You're actually saying, you know what, I can make myself bigger and tour around the US and do different things if required, but I can also stay home because I want to be present with my grandkids, and I want to do other things. So it's that it's stripping it back as you've done it, and then you're now making those intentional choices. And I think that's a real gold nugget for those at this summit to really take on board of what it takes, because otherwise everything's overwhelming and you can suddenly go, oh my gosh, I'm like this whole new woman, and you go too wild, and then you don't have the infrastructure, you don't have those skills, and then it's just overwhelming, or grief is in waves and you just don't know what.
And grief, and everybody deals with grief in a different way. So just because how I found worked for me doesn't mean it's going to work for anyone else. But what I have found, Annie, and what I have teach and taught about coming through trauma, and again, it's from where you're currently finding yourself, because there's no straight line from where you're currently finding yourself to where you want to be. There's no straight line from point A to point B. But what I find most people, what happens is they start going, and then something, and it's like they've hit a wall, and then the whole cycle happens because, oh, I'm not worthy, I'm not capable, oh, I'm not good enough, that no one's ever going to listen to me. You know what I mean? The whole thing. And that happens with entrepreneurs, that happens to people that do what we do. It's those things. It's for me, it's all about breaking those cycles of those limiting beliefs. And my book is Living Outside the Box. Okay. I teach people how to live outside the box that we ourselves put ourselves in.
Yeah.
We put ourselves in that box, or we allow other people to do it to us. And
I love the fact that you wrote the book called Living Outside the Box, and then at the stage you were a little bit in the box, and now you are totally outside the box. You've actually become the reality of what you actually knew the principles of, and now you're actually truly living that.
But and that things happen through different stages of our lives. You have kids, you're limited to what you do. In relationships, you know what I mean, and everything. So, but that's just the same thing, Annie. If you're looking at what I liked in a man when I was in my 20s was so much different than what I was looking for in a man when I found my husband. You know what I mean? And from this point on, if I become involved with someone else again, right? What am I going to be looking for then?
Yeah.
So it's all those things, we change. Our goals and dreams change. Our skill level changes. It is all those things. But what I want to get out there is we have an ocean of opportunities that lie ahead of each and every one of us. So are you going to look at that ocean and go, oh, wow, I can do this, and it's so exciting? Or are you going to be scared and not even get your toes in the water because you're afraid of sharks? And anything that lies beyond the depth of the ocean.
Which is the what ifs. The what if it's there? What if, the worry of, most of the time there is no shark. There's nothing there. Oh my goodness. Oh, we could just chat on and on and on, but time is out. I have just loved our conversation today. For those of you listening in, just make sure that you've got your comments for Patty. She will go back after this presentation, and wherever you're watching, we will make sure that she gets back to you. Also, you can just find her at patriciajogrover.com. I know she's actually, usually whenever Patty comes on my platform, she's always got a little gift for you. So what do you have today, Patty?
If anyone wants to text the word goal, GOAL, to 26786, you'll have something come right into your inbox. And I want to tell you, and I'll tell you right now, you know, when you go to the doctors and you fill out a little thing, and so that the doctor can help you with, okay, what is the issue and stuff, so that they get to see that before they see you in the chair. The gift that you're going to get is very similar to that. I want to know where your pain points are, where those things are, so I can help you get from where you're currently finding yourself to where you want to be. And what do we have to do to do that? We have to find out where we're starting from, because I can't get you where you want to be if you don't even know where you are.
Good point. Very, very good point. All right, go and do that. What was the number again, Patty?
26786. Text the word goal, GOAL.
Goal, because she's a goal achievement strategist. So text that word goal. You can watch replay if you need that again, anyone. Thank you so much, Patty. It's been an absolute delight, and it's just a joy for me as a sister from another country. See you in such incredible space. You're in a really good space, and I'm all my lovers going over to you right now, and I'm just so proud and impressed. And I just actually can't wait to see what this new Patty is going to do with her world moving forward. It's super exciting. So it's kind of like, watch this space, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Patty. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Hello and welcome. My name is Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global. As a woman, a career executive, and mum of 5, I know that becoming successful in a modern day society, it can be extremely difficult and challenging. The requirements of career and business success are often overwhelming, especially when you have competing priorities like family. But that does not mean that you can't be extraordinary. At Women's Biz Global, our goal is to educate, motivate, and elevate women so that they can have the freedom to live a life they love. It doesn't matter what your current status or position is. Your empowered future starts now. Whether you're a startup or a scale-up, or you're juggling business, life, career, family, everything, we will teach you how to dominate in your niche area without the stress and overwhelm that comes from wasting time and money and energy. We will equip you to achieve success, balance, and happiness on your terms. We invite you to join Women's Biz Tribe. Start by attending Women's Biz events and enjoy the benefit of interacting with like-minded women from around the globe who are choosing to unapologetically play a bigger game. Women's Biz Coaching offers a variety of programs that may suit your needs. We have bootcamps and webinars, online structured programs and incubators. They're all designed to help grow your personal and professional brand, confidence, and support framework. Women's Biz Media will help you discover extraordinary women via our podcast, Memoirs of Successful Women, and reach 12 million potential readers via Women's Biz Magazine. Women's Biz Publishing will take all the pain away from getting your voice and message out into the world. Your brand value will literally skyrocket overnight. And if you would prefer to access our consulting services, I will personally ensure high value solutions are provided to meet your specific needs, to time, to budget, and all with a beaming smile. Finally, get to know our affiliate partners and learn how you might like to become one yourself. Women's Biz Global is the support network that will fast-track your journey to success. So what are you waiting for? Be unapologetically you. Women's Biz Global, helping women succeed in business and life.